75th birthday of the founding of the State of Israel. It's a very, very auspicious occasion. I want to recognize some of the dignitaries here today. We have our Business Administrator, Jason Freeman, our Head of Constituent Services, Nora D. Benedetto. We have 5th Ward Councilman Phil Cohen, Rabbi Scheinberg from the United Synagogue. We also have Republican Chairman Joe Branco, 2nd Ward Councilwoman Tiffany Fisher, Hudson County Commissioner Anthony Romano, and our Democratic Chairwoman Rachel Hodis. All here today to celebrate the founding of Israel, the staying power of Israel, and the resilience of Israel. I've had the benefit, the privilege of visiting Israel not once but twice. My first time was in 1996 when I was a law school student studying at the Hebrew University in Mount Scopus campus up in the hills of Jerusalem. And then just last year, in my capacity as mayor, we did a mayor's exchange to Israel and visited the entire country, all the way from the south at the border of the Gaza Strip to the Galilee, the Golan Heights, the border of Lebanon and Syria, and everything in between, Tel Aviv to Jerusalem, the kibbutzes, you name it. And when I think about Israel, and the Israeli people, the one word that comes to mind, at least for me, in speaking to Israelis, getting their perspective, is resilience. Israeli people are a resilient people. They live in a tough neighborhood. They're constantly under attack, and they're resilient. They're fighters, but they're not only fighters, but they're doers. On my last trip to Israel, one thing I learned was a lot about the economic development, the technology, the opportunities that we have here in Hoboken to work with Israel, the infrastructure, the advances in the area of high tech, you name it. We went to municipal governments, to little cities to meet with other mayors and saw how they're resilient, not against coastal flooding, which is very important, not against climate action, which is very important, but literally being shelled by another country to create bunkers and command staff places that are very high tech and very light years beyond what we see here in America. So we've developed partnerships with Israeli companies here in Hoboken and Tel Aviv. Just one example I can think of off the top of my head is a company in Tel Aviv named Tomorrow.io. They can track weather patterns block to block, so from Washington and Newark to 3rd and Newark, they can tell you weather patterns 5, 10, 15 minutes out. That kind of precision, technology, and data is what Israel is bringing to the entire world. So one of the things I did when I was there was speak to the Minister of Tourism. We had a discussion with the Minister of Tourism, and my biggest question was, as an American, whenever I hear about the country of Israel, I hear about conflict. I hear about conflict with the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, with the conflict with Iran, with Lebanon, Syria, but you don't hear about all the good things. When you go to Tel Aviv, it's like going to Greece. There are beautiful beaches. There's history. There's technology. There's culture. This is the founder of the Judeo-Christian culture was all emanated from the state of Israel in the city of Jerusalem. The 3 major world religions, Christianity, Judaism, and Islam, all were within, not if Israel, within that area. They were born from that space. It's a sacred ground. So my ask of everyone in Hoboken, if you haven't already, visit Israel. It's a fun place to be, and it's a historic place to be. It's a consequential place to be, and it's a place that I love. as an American and a supporter of Israel and its people. So we need to make sure that Israel stays vibrant, stays strong, stays protected, and stays supported. We also have a lot of attacks against the Jewish community at home. I want to thank our police department for working with both the Shabbat as well as the synagogue to make sure that this very concerning rise of anti-Semitism in America is addressed head-on and proactively. And I want to thank, he's not here, but Director Ferranti for really taking the lead in working with Ron Rosenberg, Rabbi Shapiro, Rabbi Scheinberg, and all the stakeholders, making sure that the community here in Hoboken is protected. And we also have to stay connected to our brothers and sisters in Israel as well. That includes not just our Jewish brothers and sisters, but also our Muslim and Christian brothers and sisters who are Israeli as well. We're all part of one human family. If we're going to move forward, we're going to move forward together. And here we're today to celebrate the 75th anniversary of the founding of Israel. Israel, with our support, will remain strong, will remain resilient, because that's where its people are. We're a resilient people. I'm very proud as mayor of having this connection to Israel, and I want to continue to see it grow, not just with myself, but with the entire city and the community. So with that, we have representation at the Hudson County level with Commissioner Romano. Commissioner, would you like to say a few words?
Thank you, Mayor. Welcome, everyone. I think it's a tribute to the Mayor and his administration that every country and every culture is recognized with a significant day to be honored with a flag raising. My connection, I've had good fortune as a young police officer to work with the synagogue. Rabbi Scheinberg and I have formed a great friendship. I get my shofar every month when it's mailed, and with Ron Rosenberg and Rabbi Shapiro, and it's taught me a lot about Judaism. But an interesting thing, the formation of the State of Israel is what David Ben-Gurion accomplished, followed by such great leaders of the Israeli Defense Forces during the wars. Isser Weissman and Moshe Dayan, which I found out, Moshe Dayan, the great military leader of Israel, is related to our Rachel Holmes. So that's a good sign. It's just a tremendous history carved out after World War II. And as the mayor said, so many cultures is the center of all the three main religions of the world. So in closing, I'd just like to say happy anniversary and another 1,000 years to the land of Israel, because as the mayor said, not only is it economically driven, but there is so many people there that want peace, that the war that needs to be settled is the people have to realize, the leadership, they have to realize that peace is necessary, and that's what we hope for. God bless each and every one of you. Iratz Israel.
Thank you. Our next speaker is the chairwoman of the Hoboken Democratic Party, but more importantly, she comes from a proud Israeli heritage. Her brother has fought in the military in Israel, and we're really proud to call her a friend of Hoboken. Rachel Holmes.
Hi, everybody. So the mayor stole half my introduction there, but as the mayor said, I wear a variety of hats here in Hoboken, but the reason that I'm standing here today is because I have family members who live in Israel, and so today really does feel like a celebration for me and my family, and I'm really just so grateful to the city of Hoboken for having this flag raising today. So my mom and my brother both live in Israel, and like other Israeli citizens, they celebrate Yom HaAtzmaut as the third of what is now being called the Israeli High Holidays. And it starts with Yom HaShoah, which is the day of remembrance for those who perished in the Holocaust, and Yom HaZikaron, which is a day to memorialize the fallen soldier. And it concludes a week, that week of holidays concludes with the celebration of Yom HaAtzmaut, Israel Independence Day. And there really is no other time in Israel that you see the country coming together and bonding like during this week of remembrance and celebration. Israel, like America, as the mayor referenced, can sometimes be extremely divided and bitterly polarized, but on these days, they really do come together as one. And so like us, I think we can all recognize that Israelis also know the strength of community like we have here in Hoboken. When my brother moved to Israel almost 10 years ago to enlist in the army, he didn't know any Hebrew. We had one family friend there, and he basically moved to a place he didn't know and have any roots. And for every single Shabbat dinner for almost a year, he had a family to go to. He had parents who also had children in the army washing his clothes. There was a person that one of my friends from college had met a couple of times who actually housed my brother for quite a few months. His family became my brother's family. And I really, sorry, this is the problem with having your notes on a phone. Your phone closes on you. So when my mother decided to move to Israel 6 years ago, she also encountered that same sense of community. She had decided to move there after she retired, and she's found people and friends and culture and intellectual stimulation. And every day she tells me a new story of a new person that she's met. The latest is the hairdresser who offered to give her a free haircut because he saw her walking down the street and loved her hair so much. Or the personal trainer who she barters with, English lessons for personal training. And so the Israel that they've come to know and that I know is vibrant, bustling, interesting, complicated, brash, and like us here, a dynamic chosen family. So again, I'm so happy to be here to celebrate Yom Ha'atzmaut, Israel Independence Day, and I really cannot stress enough how meaningful and important this is. As somebody who's raising their family here in Hoboken at a time when there is rising anti-Semitism, not just in America, but worldwide, it is so meaningful to see this symbol of support for the Jewish and democratic state of Israel, where my family is fighting every single day to make it a more inclusive, welcoming, and democratic country. And it really just means so much. So thank you, Mayor Bala, your entire administration, Nora Martinez Di Benedetto for putting this together, and everybody for being here today. Thank you.
Toda Rabba. Little Hebrew now. Sorry to hog the mic here, but just this event is jogging some memories for me. When you go to Israel, you have to visit a museum called Yad Vashem. It's the main Holocaust museum in Jerusalem. When I was growing up as a school child in New Jersey, the New Jersey public schools, we had very little education about the Holocaust and what it meant. My takeaway growing up as an adult was that there was a war, there was a very bad person who we know who that is, and there were millions of Jews who perished in that war. And that's like literally about it. In April, I went to Yad Vashem, and it was such a transformational experience for me. And I think it's so important for young children in this country and for us to teach the teachers Holocaust history. That's very important in order to make sure that we don't have a superficial understanding of what happened in that moment in history. It's a very consequential moment, and if we can bring some of that history to the U.S., I was able to partner with somebody who's trying to do that right now from the museum, and I'm trying to even bring it into the curriculum here in Hoboken public schools. I think it would elevate our youth's understandings of history. So with that, I'm gonna bring a very venerable member of the community here in Hoboken. I contact you not too much, but only when it's important. And you're always gracious and humble, Rabbi Scheinberg.
Thank you very much, Mayor Bala, and we're so grateful to you for having this ceremony today, for your very moving words today, and your support of the Jewish community at times of such difficulty over these last few years for us and for the Jewish community generally in New Jersey and in the United States. And we're just so grateful to you for having this ceremony here at City Hall in honor of Israel's 75th anniversary. We are a diverse cultural mosaic here in Hoboken. We have people connected to all different places around the world, and it's so wonderful to give us the opportunity to celebrate here the places that we are connected to around the world. There are many people in Hoboken who are Israeli. There are many people in Hoboken who are Jewish and have significant connections with Israel, whether because of connections with family members. My daughter right now is in Israel right now, or have spent a lot of time in Israel, or have a historical connection with Israel that every person in the Jewish community has. And then there are just so many who have connections with Israel as a beacon of democracy and a place that, as you said, is the place where the major world religions spread. As Rachel noted, last night, and actually today, or Yom HaZikaron, Israel's Memorial Day, last night at our synagogue we had a very moving ceremony including musical presentations and video presentations and prayers in memory of those who died in Israel's wars and in acts of terror. And placing Israel's Memorial Day right before Israel's Independence Day definitely gives it a different kind of feel. It is, most Israelis and so many people outside of Israel know at least someone who died in Israel's wars or in acts of terror, and that also goes for me. So what was it that happened exactly 75 years ago today on the Jewish calendar? May 14th, 1948, or the 5th of the Hebrew month of Iyar. It's when Israel's Declaration of Independence was signed and announced. A few months earlier, the nations of the world had voted at the United Nations to partition Palestine into a Jewish state and an Arab state. There was jubilation in the Jewish community, but the nations of the Middle East region vowed never to accept a Jewish state in Palestine and to choke it off as if it drew its first breath. These are the circumstances in which Israel issued its Declaration of Independence, which continues to be one of Israel's most treasured historical documents, and describes the thousands of years of Jewish attachment to the land, the yearning for it from around the world, and also the calamitous consequences of Jewish homelessness and powerlessness that the Holocaust especially revealed. And also the validations of the nations of the world of the right and desirability for a Jewish state to exist. I just want to read just one paragraph from the Declaration of Independence. The state of Israel will be opened for Jewish immigration and for the ingathering of the exiles. It will foster the development of the country for the benefit of all its inhabitants. It will be based on freedom, justice, and peace as envisioned by the prophets of Israel. It will ensure complete equality of social and political rights to all its inhabitants, irrespective of religion, race, and sex. It will guarantee freedom of religion, conscience, language, education, and culture. It will safeguard the holy places of all nations, and it will be faithful to the principles of the Charter of the United Nations. These words are integral to the vision of the State of Israel as a refuge for Jews that is also a place of freedom and equality for all, committed to democratic values of freedom and equality. This is the vision. Most often it is the reality, though we would all be willing to admit that like every other nation, Israel is a work in progress. That Israel's national anthem is Hatikva, the hope, highlights that it is not content to rest on its laurels but remains aspirational. Like every nation in the world, Israel's future will be as bright as its commitment to its noble ideals. Mayor Bala, we're so delighted to be celebrating and together with you. We're very, very grateful to be here on this special day and to be in celebration together.
Thank you, Rabbi. This is, I think, the best weather we've had for a flag raising all year. So let's enjoy it. We're going to actually raise the flag now. So I'd invite any members of the Jewish community or anyone who wants to.
I think we're gonna actually
we're gonna have
a quick song first,
a quick song.
and then we'll all
Okay.
raise the flag together.
What we're going to do is Rabbi Steinberg is going to lead some of the kids from the Catholic School to a quick song first. right, so why don't you guys come on up and we'll raise the flag.
We're gonna follow Noah. Walk down here. No. All right. No, a little further. Here we go. That's it. All right.
I invite you to sing with me if you wish.
נפש יהודי הומיה ולפתי מזרח קדימה עין לציון צופיה עוד לא עבדה תקוותנו התקווה בת שנות 2000 להיות עם חופשי בארצנו ארץ ציון ירושלים להיות עם חופשי בארצנו ארץ ציון ירושלים